gotta die. I'm broke, hey, gotta die. Everybody gets it hard up sometimes.
We lost everything. Lost the house, the car, the job, you name it. Whatever we had, we didn't have anymore.
During a depression, it was very difficult to get any money. There just was no money around.
It was down to begging and not standing on a street corner with a sign. This was, we're destitute.
One dime was all I had.
The Civilian Conservation Corps was created by Franklin Roosevelt as part of his New Deal programs to put Americans back to work.
You know, they say that Roosevelt passed 100 pieces of legislation in 100 days. He had to put the people to work somewhere, so he created these things. So when I got out of this high school, then I figured the CC camp was the best I had. There was no work.
I received $5, and my mother received a check for $25 at home in the mail.
It was a thing that took a lot of boys that had very little to eat, no wages, no jobs or nothing, and they put them in there, and they planted trees, and they learned to get along with people.
We built roads, we built campgrounds, we built trails that are still in existence and still being used.
I think we take it for granted. A lot of that is the legacy of the CCC. The forests that they planted are forests that we enjoy today.
My life was altered immeasurably by those 4 years in the CCC camp.
It was a good program. It was probably one of the best programs the United States ever had.
Funding for Oregon Experience is provided by the James F. and Marion L. Miller Foundation, the Ann and Bill Swindell's Charitable Trust, the Oregon Cultural Trust, and from viewers like you. Thank you.
Oregon's governor in 1932 was Julius Meyer. He wrote a letter to President Hoover asking for relief. One of the lines in Meyer's letter to Hoover is, "Unless there is some help, we will soon be descending into chaos," implying revolutionary conditions.
In 1932, the United States was in crisis. Millions were unemployed. Homeless families took to the road in search of jobs. People were desperate.
In the cities, there was a lot of unrest, and amongst the World War I veterans, there was a lot of unrest. There was lots of people that didn't have any income at all.
In Portland, Oregon, 2,000 World War I veterans relied on soup kitchens to eat. Retired Marine Sergeant Walter Waters was one of them. Broke and angry, he rode the rails across the country, rallying tens of thousands of veterans to march on Washington, D.C. Congress had promised the veterans a cash bonus for their military service, but had postponed paying it.
Walter Waters, I think, put it while we're still alive rather than in 1945 when most of us will be dead.
Despite weeks of protest on Capitol Hill, the bonus never came. Instead, President Herbert Hoover ordered the troops to remove the bonus army. Soldiers marched in with bayonets and tear gas.
The government coming down hard, and especially the use of the United States Army, is an image that was indelibly welded in the minds of working-class American people.
It was the final nail in the coffin for Hoover's re-election campaign.
Herbert Hoover says the people will find a way. Well, give me a break. The people will find a way, and here they are practically starving to death.
A new president, Franklin Roosevelt, was sworn into office in March of 1933, offering the country a New Deal, an alphabet soup of relief and recovery programs. One of the most popular would be the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC.
And in creating this Civilian Conservation Corps, we are killing two birds with one stone. We are clearly enhancing the value of our natural resources, and at the same time, we are relieving an appreciable amount of actual distress.
The Civilian Conservation Corps was designed for young unmarried men, American Indians, and war veterans. They would work rural conservation jobs and earn about $1 a day. Within weeks, hundreds of thousands signed up.
In Oregon alone, there were 87,000 CCC boys, as they were called, in different camps scattered across the state.
They came from all over the country, street kids and farm boys, sometimes all mixed together.
Young people are not always the easiest people to work with, but you did develop a camaraderie.
You have to learn very fast to join the club, because if you don't, you're not going to make it. The fellows that were in there were more or less in your same boat anyway.
In a time of national segregation, Oregon's earliest camps were an experiment in integration, with blacks and whites living and working together.
It was almost inadvertent that the camps were desegregated initially. They enrolled African American young men along with the white enrollees. The numbers were relatively small, up to 25 African Americans per 200-man company. The men worked side by side, there were no problems to speak of. By 1934, there were rumblings, mainly in the East. Constituents of congressmen complained about the integrated nature of the camps, the mixing of the races, and there was a move to segregate the CCCs.
Eventually, the camps were ordered to segregate. War veterans and American Indians also had their own separate camps and enjoyed more flexible rules, with no limits on age or marriage. The Indian camps focused on restoring reservation lands, and some even enrolled women. Nearly 3,000 American Indians served in Oregon. But by and large, the enrollees were poor white men, 17 to 25, with little education, no job skills, and no other options.
They weren't supposed to get in until they were 16. I'm sure that some were younger. And when they got there, they probably lied about their age.
When I left home, I went to high school one morning and came back in December. You've heard of runaways. Well, them days it wasn't. When you got to be 16 or 17, it was time to leave home. You left home.
I had another 2 years to go in high school, but my folks were having a tough time paying for this place. But I thought, why don't I just do that and get the hell out of here and, make $1 a day?
My parents were sharecroppers in Nebraska with a family of 12 children. We frequently had too little food for the number of people at the table.
Just enough to know I'll never be poor again. Just enough to drive away all sorrow, pain. You may wish for many things, but all in vain. Give to me what precious gold can buy.
They couldn't make it anymore in Nebraska, and they moved to Silverton, Oregon. My older brother and I were eligible for the CCCs, and a man from Clackamas County Social Services picked up 4 of us to take us up to Camp Zig Zag.
Camp Zig Zag in the Mount Hood National Forest opened May 11, 1933. It was one of the first to open and would be one of the last to close.
The complex of buildings at the Zig Zag Ranger Station is a really great example of the architecture built during the period of the CCC. They created an entire administrative complex here for use by the Forest Service, and it's still used years later, 75 years later.
And it remains a place where former enrollees can admire their handiwork and reminisce.
Yeah, I can remember working with Walter up on the upper end of the ski lift.
Oh, yes.
When we was up there, we put a new roof on the upper end of the ski lift.
The very first one that they had on the mountain.
Alumni groups keep the memory of their work alive, even as their numbers dwindle with the passing years.
That first day, we arrived about noon. The first sergeant took my brother, me, and the other boys that were brand new to the mess hall. When we got in there and saw those tables full of food, my brother and I were really amazed. They had meat and potatoes and gravy, big bowls, vegetables, and boy, we didn't stop eating for a long time.
We hope you'll stay. Please pass the biscuits, Pappy.
Enrollees got 3 squares a day, with hot lunches delivered to work sites. Food was plain but abundant.
Most of them were undernourished when they got to the camps. Skinny as a rail, a lot of them, and many of them gained a pound a day for the first 30 days they were in the camps. They just hadn't been eating very good at home. But I was a cook. Meat and potatoes was my specialty, and there was lots of pork and lots of good beef, too. And they liked my cooking. I made my own recipes, and I made stuff taste good, and that's, of course, important.
The gut hammer rang, and we could run for the mess hall. Everybody loved to hear that hammer ring.
Those hearty meals also fattened local coffers. Food and many other supplies came from nearby farms and businesses, while uniforms were often World War I surplus.
I had a pair of olive drab dress pants and shirt. They were wool and they were certainly scratchy. Then I got a Gillette safety razor that I wouldn't need for 3 more years.
We dressed for supper every night. You can't imagine what it is to put a necktie on some farm boy. But they did her.
We got in there, they issued us clothing, they gave us shots, took our history, assigned us to a barracks. We didn't have a bugle, we had a record player. And every morning at 6 o'clock over that came, good morning, you slept the whole night through, good morning to you. That was our wake-up call.
The officer would come through in the morning. You'd have to have your bunk all made with hospital corners.
The schedule was regimented. Generally, morning roll call was followed by an 8-hour workday and an evening bed check.
We respected the flag twice a day. You obeyed the rules. You were told when to eat, when to get up, when to go to work, when to come back from work, when to go to bed.
And of course, with 50 teenage boys in there, there was a gruff old barracks leader who knew how to keep control.
Local experienced men, known as LEMs, were hired to supervise the work and teach the enrollees.
They knew how to handle us. They were so good to us, yet they were stern. The discipline was very strict. There was no fooling around. If you didn't work, you were going to be on your way out, and they let that be known. On the other hand, they knew how to induce young people to bring out the best.
'Cause I don't bother work don't bother me. I'm just as happy as a darn old bumblebee. I eat when I can get it, sleep about half the time. I don't give a doggone if the sun don't ever shine. 'Cause work don't bother me.
We were kids, and we were up there to do a job. Many of us knew nothing about how to do the job we were assigned to. We had to learn. And they introduced us to the tools, told us how to use them, and told us how to work together, and said, now go fall those snags. You couldn't believe some of the places we dropped those trees when we were starting to learn how. The fact that I finally learned that I could drop that snag right where I wanted it carried over in my life.
'Cause work don't bother me.
I never saw one man hurt. And I think it came from the fact that they trained you well, they told you what to do, they watched you.
The enrollees became known for their high-quality work and attention to detail. Public support grew until the CCC was one of the most popular New Deal programs.
I wish that I could take a couple of months off from the White House and come down here and live with them, because I know I'd get full of health the way they have.
Enrollees receive free medical and dental care along with their wage. Generally, boys made about $30 a month. They could keep 5, the rest went directly to their struggling parents. For the boys, payday meant newfound and hard-earned pride.
You know, one of the great things about the Seas was you learned how to do a job, and you were a contributing member of your family.
My mother needed every cent.
The $5 was great for me, because I had been a hell of a long time since I seen $5. It got spent at the camp. That's where I learned how to smoke for 10 cents a pack.
With money in their pockets, weekends meant piling into an Army truck to visit the local towns.
They had a truck that brought you down from Zig Zag to 82nd and Powell and dumped you off.
And we kind of vied for the girls. They loved us. We had money. We got $5 a month.
We go to the log lodge every Saturday night and drink Coke and dance to the Nickelodeon till our nickels ran out.
Camp organizers made sure the boys had plenty to do when they weren't on the job. Enrollees published newspapers, put on concerts and sporting events, while boxing matches could help settle disputes.
They were 3 rounds, 1-minute rounds, and you had gloves that were real big, fairly soft, and nobody ever got hurt very bad there. They didn't want you hurt, they wanted you working.
They also wanted the boys educated. All of the camps offered additional job training and night courses.
A lot of them was uneducated. A lot of them had never been in school, to speak of. I wanted to finish high school.
With the economic hard times, it wasn't unusual for small rural schools to simply shut their doors. But in the CCC, enrollees could take as many classes as they wanted, including extension courses through local colleges.
They would help you graduate from high school. They would help you learn to read and write. There were some real opportunities there to learn.
The opportunities changed lives and the country's landscape.
I know the slogan was, "We can do it."
Enrollees built trails at Multnomah Falls and picnic areas on the coast, helped build lodges at Crater Lake and Timberline, built power lines that brought electricity to eastern Oregonians, and worked on 88 different projects at the newly created Silver Falls State Park. The manpower would prove to be invaluable.
State forestry officials report yesterday's logging fire in Gales Creek Canyon near Forest Grove has now raged into a full-scale forest fire.
Within a day after the Tillamook fire of 1933 took off, there were CCC camps, 2 or 3 camps, already working on the fire lines. They served as the first fire crews for fighting forest fires and as foot soldiers.
The 1930s were years of catastrophic fires. The Tillamook burns scorched millions of trees. In Bandon, an inferno raced through the city. The entire Northwest seemed alive with fire. And just about every hand that could hold a shovel was called on.
1939 was a terrible year for forest fires.
We just got to bed and the lights went on. The guy says, "We're going out on fire." Got on a damn bus and went all the way down the coast to Brookings.
I get off of that bus, I go on another bus that takes me to the Canadian border.
And then we got off of that and got on the truck and went all the way up into the National Forest to fight fire there.
And we fought on that fire line for about a week when the big fire called the Wolf Creek Fire broke out down near Tillamook.
And I mean, we were beat, and you just kept going until you practically fell over.
When the fires were finally out, there was more work to do. For the first time, there was money and manpower to mend the scarred land. A large-scale reforestation effort began. Nationwide, CCC enrollees planted 4 billion trees in less than a decade.
Planted trees, planted lots of trees.
They'd form a line, go right up over the hills, over the logs, over the stumps. You take about 3 or 4 steps. You figured about 10 foot between each tree. We had 400 trees. When we got those planted, we went back to camp.
They planted so many trees they came to be known as the Tree Army.
They were called that by Franklin Delano Roosevelt detractors, but it's really a good name to apply to it because of the number of trees that we planted.
Several federal agencies coordinated the work, but it was the U.S. Army that ran the camps. Critics saw it as a front for building up the military, and ultimately it did help prepare the boys for the coming war.
Well, the discipline was there. There was no marching, no real military work, but it had a military flavor to it.
I knew more about what I was going to be doing in the military than the people who had not experienced that, much more.
Roosevelt wanted to make the program permanent, but after Pearl Harbor, enrollment dropped and interest dwindled as resources were diverted to the war effort. In 1942, Congress eliminated funds for the Civilian Conservation Corps, and most camps were torn down. In its 9-year existence, the CCC enrolled nearly 3.5 million men. It developed 800 state parks, strung 90,000 miles of telephone wire, improved 40 million acres of farmland, and gave hope to a generation of young men nearly lost to hunger and despair.
I think that it was a wonderful program. It matured a lot of the boys that came in there. They went out as men.
I learned very early that I could handle any damn thing that come along. Anything.
I think the CCC, it gave people hope.
There's more about the Civilian Conservation Corps on Oregon Experience Online. To learn more or to order a DVD of the show, visit opb.org. Funding for Oregon Experience is provided by the James F. and Marion L. Miller Foundation, the Ann and Bill Swindells Charitable Trust, the Oregon Cultural Trust, and from viewers like you. Thank you.